Hello and welcome to Film Seizure. My name is Chuck Moore, and with me, as always, are my cohorts in this black comedy of a podcast, Jeff Arbuckle. Say hi, Jeff Arbuckle.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Jeff Arbuckle here.
And also Jason Oliver.
Hey, I'm here.
Jason's here. Jeff is here.
I'm here.
We're here.
I'm here from my vacation home.
Yeah, your vacation home.
Yeah.
Looks a little cobwebby.
It's a mansion.
It's a mansion. Also here with us today are Tucker and Dale and a large group of suicidal college kids.
You goddamn stupid college kids.
Oh, God.
We have 2010's Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Like our podcast is a black comedy. I didn't really look if Eli Craig had done much else. Anyone have any insight on him?
He made a movie a few years ago called Little Evil with Adam Scott. It's okay.
Okay.
It wasn't the best,
Well, he was, okay,
but
whoa.
it was all right.
Whoa, guys, hang on a second. He was in Space Cowboys.
Oh, well, that's a hell of a credit right there.
He played the young version of...
Tommy Lee Jones?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Hawk Hawkins.
Hawk Hawkins.
I was like, when I was looking at it, I was like, please say Tommy Lee Jones, please say, and it was.
That's awesome. I don't remember that movie that well, but I do remember.
I remember one line when Donald Sutherland puts on his big Coke bottle glasses and Clint Eastwood saying, "Damn, Jerry."
Damn, all those people are in that movie?
Yeah, it's a bunch of oldies. It's a bunch of old fogies.
But the olds go to space.
Yep.
It must suck because I do not remember it.
It didn't. I liked that. That was all right.
It was okay. I think I saw it in the theater and then forgot it.
Nope, it sucked because I don't remember it. Sorry, guys.
Our opinions are nullified.
Didn't suck. It did not suck. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I think, actually, I know, Jason, you recommended this movie to me because you thought Steph would like it. And
Yep.
two, you were like, you'll be surprised. And boy, was I. Like, I was prepared for, run-of-the-mill, Cabin in the Woods, which is another good movie, Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods movie. And it is...
Not
that. It is that, but it's not that, right?
Not.
Like,
yeah, it's a send up, right? It's I guess the easiest way to describe it is if the so-called murderous hillbillies were actually just misunderstood, and you see the whole horror from their perspective.
yes. Yeah, it's totally subverted, right? They kind of become the victims. Not kind of, they're the victims.
Oh, they're the victims,
of all the shit that's happening around them, while still maintaining an aura good enough to confuse these college kids the entire movie, even though they're kind of stupid. But Jeff, this is the first time you watched this, right?
This is a first-time watch. I knew of it probably because of the two of you, but I had never seen it. And yeah, it's like I mean, I knew it was a comedy. It's like I'm not coming in expecting anything else. It would be kind of like coming in to it would be like already knowing that From Dusk Till Dawn turns into a horror movie,
right?
After the action half,
Right.
So I was kind of coming into it already knowing it was a comedy, already knowing that it was a send up. And I mean, yeah, this is one of those movies where all the way through it, it's like this movie's heart is pretty much always in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I thought it landed a little too soft, but that still, its heart was in the right place. It's just, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like an old timey comedy of like, I don't know, like Mistaken Identity maybe, or something along like where these two, for lack of a better term, idiots cannot get out of the situation they're in because they never know what's going on, and they can never convince the other side that they aren't who the dumb college kids think they are.
Well, it would be impossible for them to convince them because they totally misunderstand what the college kids think too.
Right. Right. I mean, it's two people in orbit that they can never touch each other. You know, it's like they can't run into each other, except for one character that does cross over, but she spends a lot of this movie unconscious.
Yes. Yes, she does.
Which in itself is funny and kind of cute that they do that. And like the one person who can solve all of this can't until it's long too late. Yeah.
It's fun. Go ahead, Jason.
It's funny how they kind of set it up, right? Because I love the when they're driving past them on the road.
It's fucking Easy Rider.
And Tyler Labine, he's Dale, right? He he just has this blank look on his face, and he's kind of like staring at them out of the passenger side window. And of course, that's taken as sinister, and it's sort of shot sinisterly,
right?
Like in a slow motion, kind of like grainy shot.
Well, you
immediately start like getting the perception of these kids who are also probably grown up on horror films. To where there is the crazy hillbilly, right? That we fear. Yeah. They're just so different from us. They're almost like alien, right? That they must be have to be the antithesis of everything we are, and therefore violent and scary.
Yep. There's one greater horror to them to start this movie after seeing Tucker and Dale, and that's that they forgot the beer.
Yeah.
They forgot the beer, and that is terrible.
Which then only sets up the very next scenario in which they feel uncomfortable and
at Last Chance Gas, which is appropriately and funnily named. It's that last gas station before you get to town, or before you get to whatever remote place you're going, and Tucker and Dale are there, of course, and they are... How do we explain this? So like you said, they're dummies, idiots or hillbillies, whatever. I don't even think they're really that dumb, but they have to be kind of dumb to make this premise work.
Well, they're dumb like Laurel and Hardy are dumb.
Yeah,
sure.
They're
constantly they're foils for each other, where sometimes one is smarter than the other, and sometimes one is dumber than the other, but they're always in situations where they're played off as the dumb guy.
Yeah. And they're also just, they're just simple guys, simple needs, simple wants. They're living a generally simple life, right? And so
it's that simple.
It's just that simple, right? And that can be misconstrued as non-intelligent or moronic, but they're really not. They're just pretty normal guys, kinda. And one of them thinks he's dumber than he really is.
Right, and one of them is pretty street smart.
Yeah.
And one of them is incredible, we find out later at trivia, but he thinks that makes his brain broken. Because he's like
yeah, he's basically doesn't forget anything. He's almost got like a photographic memory, sort of. Yeah.
One other thing they don't see in their simple lives very often are really hot college chicks, which
again are like alien, right?
Yes.
I mean, very much so. These are not two types of cross sections of America that intersect very often, and when they do, they kind of like. It's kind of like a little frictiony,
Well, it's oil and water, right?
Yeah, they're both a little bit xenophobic about each other,
And with that xenophobia and the thought of that girl is hot, makes Tucker stare in a really kind of bad way.
Right. Exactly. It's like it's almost like I hate
Well,
to say
it's Dale. It's Dale that does the
Or
stuff.
Dale,
yeah.
whatever.
It's exotic, right? Seeing something exotic. It's like it could almost be a space alien, right?
Well,
You can't help but
also
stare.
his head is right on that shelf when she moves the one thing, and he's just right there,
Mhm.
and then he has to try to play it off. That's hilarious.
And then of course Tucker's kind of egging him on. He's like, if you don't ever go for anything in life, you're gonna always, you're never gonna get what you want. So he kind of eggs him on, and he's like, you should go talk to her, to one of the girls. And he walks over there with this giant like
it's a scythe.
stake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like-
Yeah.
He just lumbers over there, and he tells him it's like it never hurt to just make a joke and laugh or something like
Well,
that.
Smile and laugh.
Smile
Well,
and laugh.
it also they've dropped something and they're picking something up on the floor, and he's lumbering over and he's like looking down on them, and the whole it's got the high angle shot at him. He's basically blotting out the sun as if he is going to kill them
You
in the
guys
parking lot.
going camping?
It's like the most awkward laugh, most insincere laugh, and obviously it comes off as pretty fucking creepy.
Yep.
They hate my face.
No, wait, I wrote that. I told you, Tucker, I'm a 0 with the ladies. They hate my face.
And this is where we get, Chad has been around, but Chad kind of shows a little bit of his darker side here, but
Had he already basically tried to tell Allie that basically he has plans for them that she does not approve of?
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
Because I think he's expecting. Well, he's Chad.
Right.
So he thinks that Allie, the hottest girl in college, I think probably, is going to marry the richest, douchiest fuckface in the college, who happens to be named Chad. No shit. I'm surprised they didn't name her Stacy. But anyway, yeah. No, so she's getting it from all angles at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, and she isn't exactly rude to them at all, right? She's kind of more curious, I think, about Tucker and Dale. But as Tucker and Dale walk away or drive away, they get pulled over by a cop.
Well,
And you have
Tucker
that-
drops his beer.
Yeah, dropped his
man.
beer in his own
And Dale
lap.
just immediately like, yeah, I'll help you. Which only looks like he's blowing his own brother.
Right,
Well, they're
yeah.
brothers, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think they're brothers. No, they're just
okay.
buds. They're just buds.
Yeah.
They're practically brothers.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, they've known each other since they were kids, and if they're not brothers, they might as well be.
Right.
They do have different last names according to the credits, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, he looks like he's giving him a blower in the truck there, and ends up with his shirt off because his shirt is stuck on like the steering column or something like that, and the cop has that
His shirt comes off.
Yeah.
when he pulls back.
This cop, oh my god, he's so good. There ain't nothing up there but pain and suffering. So it's like we start to see that reversal almost, that these guys are the victims, right? The unwitting people going into the woods who are going to get murdered.
Yeah, because they're not actually familiar with the area too much. They because Tucker has bought himself a vacation home in the woods, and that's what they're going to see, the property that he purchased and start to
Fix it up. Yeah.
Yep. And
So-
when and that's when they see it. They get to the vacation home, and it's your pretty standard cabin in the woods, pretty run down,
Dilapidated. Yeah. It's,
dilapidated. It looks like it's right out of the Evil Dead.
Right. Pretty much. Yeah. And they go inside, and there are newspaper clippings of all these murders and terrible things that have happened.
Yeah.
So they
Did you notice
never look
there are
at it.
tampons like strung from a chandelier or something? Did you notice that?
No, I didn't notice that.
It's so fucking weird. Like there's
Well,
like tampons like from their strings just like dangling.
There is only one thing in this whole place that they actually know and pay attention to. They don't pay attention to, clearly, the tampons that I didn't pay attention to. Maybe I should have bought that vacation home because I wasn't paying attention to what's going on in there either. And they didn't pay attention to the newspaper clippings. They never reference that.
Nope.
But
they kind of reference it in him saying they look at that whole board, all of murder, like, you know, the psycho would capture all of those things, but he also had a coupon for 3 for $5 or buy 3 get 2 free chili dogs. No expiration date.
Yeah.
No expiration
That's their
date.
takeaway.
Yeah, right. So, but they don't ever act. They miss the rest of it.
Right.
They never speak of it again. It's still there later in the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
They've started cleaning up the place, but they've left the wallpaper, if you will. But there is one thing in this cabin that is important, and there's a loose
Column
or whatever that's called, where that's
support.
It's a support beam,
Yeah.
and it's loose and it's kind of broken. And it's got a really dangerous thing that swings down that's full of nails.
Yeah.
But they say, oh, well, you know, we'll just get that fixed or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's it.
They unfortunately never fix it. And that comes up a couple times later.
Right.
It also comes stocked with board games. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah. And Dale loves board games.
Uh-huh.
Especially trivia.
Just the game of trivia.
His favorite game is up there. So yeah, they start their little cleanup there. Meanwhile, the other group has parked nearby, and they're going to camp on the water. Or, I don't know, they're not camping on the water. They're just camping. And Chad tells the story of the Memorial Day massacre.
Pump up the jam.
Yeah.
A little more. Get your body moving on the dance floor.
So funny. Like,
I wish he'd have hummed that instead of sung it.
Oh man!
This is where this movie has crossed over to our most recent Friday the 13th special.
Yes.
Like these two movies have kind of crossed in the night.
Yep.
yeah, and they definitely have. And that representation of the people that would be listening to Pump Up the Jam is hysterical. But the killers, the supposed killers of that, come and put on a different song and then just mutilate everybody.
Well, the one guy, because everybody's like, what's going on? And the one guy's like, oh, no, it's fine. Hey, guys, how's it going? And he gets a fucking saw in his face.
Yeah. He's like, wait, who did that? And then he sees the blade. He's like, no, I'm feeling this. It's good. Yeah, then saw to the head.
Yeah, and then the machete to the throat of the girl, and then he tells her, shh, be quiet. But one girl, as Chad tells it, there's one survivor. One girl who gets away while everyone else has died, right? But there's more to this story later. I don't want to mix it up.
Yeah. But that's basic. That was the gist of what was said. Yes.
Yeah, but Chad kind of said.
But it's very important that it was a hillbilly attack.
Yes.
So if you know that if you have a problem with hillbillies and you know a hillbilly attack happened, I mean, the first place you go naturally would be to where all the hillbillies are out in the middle of nowhere, where they could potentially kill you without anybody hearing you scream. That's what I would do.
But before that happens, before they get themselves killed by the hillbillies, they want to go skinny dipping.
Right. Yeah. Because they cut off the story. Like basically the moment Chad is done telling the story, it's like, let's go skinny dipping.
Yeah. This guy who is taking a shit in the wood comes back and says, hey, there's a lake over there.
Yeah.
I love the one guy that when he says, "You guys want to go skinny dipping?" He's like, "Yeah," and he got like, takes his shirt off.
I do.
I do. He's like super stoked on it.
This begins kind of what I like. The way that they handle this movie, you always fear, or at least the first time I watched it, I feared that it was just going to run stale on me. Like the jokes are just going to get bad, right? Like you cannot keep this up for an entire movie, right? And they surprisingly, shockingly do, in my opinion. But,
well, here's how I think they do this, is that basically from this moment on, it's vignettes that are tied together with the overall plot. It's, so like every situation presents a new set of rules and a new set of how things are resolved.
sure.
So like the first thing is the skinny dipping. And what happens at the skinny dipping? Well, at the same time, Tucker and Dale have decided to go fishing, and they're just kind of in the reeds.
Yep.
And they look over, and oh my God, there's a hot chick. She's in her underwear, and it's the hot chick that we know, and and so and like Dale's like, Tucker, stop staring, and she looks over. Of course, it's Allie, and Allie looks over, and she freaks out, and she slips on the rock, bashing her head and falling into the water.
Yep.
And to which does at that point, doesn't Tucker say, "Let's get out of here"?
I think so. Yeah, he said, let's get out of here. But Dale is like, she didn't come up.
She hasn't come up.
Right.
Yeah.
So he jumps in and saves her. Now, meanwhile, the college kids now can see and hear what's going on, and they look over, and
we got your friend.
And they say, "Hey guys, we got your friend." As they're pulling her out of the water unconscious, it looks like they nabbed her, and so they freak out and they just row away, or they swim away. And they're
Why
like,
the hell are they running away?
So they take Allie back to the cabin, back to the vacation home.
One thing to know before that, Chad kind of confronts Allie before she goes skinny dipping and gives her his little asshole routine about how they're meant to be together, and she could stop pretending she's better than everybody because they are better than everybody, and blah blah blah. Basically, Chad is a douche, and
well, it also shows the Allie is
not
better than that. Yeah.
This goes back to that Friday the 13th talk that we had. Like, he is the character that I definitely want to die in this movie. Chad.
Yeah.
Well, we can do you one better than him dying.
Yeah, we can.
So we'll get to that eventually.
And I mean, he's not even just the guy who you want to die. He ends up being the versus evil.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying. We'll get to eventually.
Jason doesn't care.
It becomes pretty apparent, right?
It does,
because even in the next scene, he's trying to take over, and he's like, "We're gonna go get him," and we don't need the cops, right? I mean, it's pretty apparent that he's kind of like the bad guy in this movie, pretty fast.
And he is like he's boiling under his skin. Like you can tell just out of the. I mean, at this point, he is just shot out of a cannon.
This is, by the way, that's Jesse Moss. You might have recognized him from Ginger Snaps. He's the kind of like douchey boyfriend, sort of kind of boyfriend of Ginger, who gets turned into a werewolf later too.
Oh, okay, yeah, I do recognize him.
Yeah,
interesting.
Nice.
So he's Canadian.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure.
I would assume so.
Hey, we got your friend.
So they take her back, and Jesse Moss or Chad is like, "Hey, let's we need to go find her. We need to find out where these fucking hillbillies are." And now his buddy Chuck,
me,
you're like, "Hey, we should really go to the to the police."
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right." And what he eventually says, "All right, fine, you go to the police." And he takes off running. Now, this is one of my, I laughed so fucking hard at this. So it cuts back to the group, and Chloe, who is completely and totally not set up to be a camper. One, she's pretty much a bag of doorknobs in terms of her intelligence, and she's out there in what they call later stripper shoes.
Yep.
In the woods, and you see her constantly tripping over stuff and barely able to walk. But it cuts back to her who's saying that this is all bullshit, that he gets to leave, and you see him trip and fall in the background. And it fucking killed me. I don't know if that was meant to happen, but it was so fucking perfect that it nearly killed me. I nearly died.
Well, I'm glad you made it.
Well, it turns out that most of these kids have a bit of a clumsy side to them. They're genetically disposed to clumsy.
So, meanwhile, while they're kind of gathering outside the cabin to go knock or whatever they're going to do, Dale has made Allie pancakes. To which she wakes up and she's like half in shock, doesn't know where the hell she is, freaks out, and instead of realizing that maybe she is freaking out because of her situation, he's like, "Oh, you don't like pancakes?"
Yeah, this is definitely where Dale shows a little bit of his simple side, right?
Yes.
He's not very good at emotional cues.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that whole pancake thing had me thinking of Cabin Fever a little bit too. I was wondering if it was a semi nod to that, because she was like, pancakes? Like, that's weird. Pancakes, what?
I thought that too, actually, because it's like, are they tipping their hat to Eli Roth here?
I felt
Could
like
be.
they were.
I thought they were too. I mean, because that's the only thing I remember of Cabin Fever.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because that shit is weird, man.
Yes, it is.
I remember seeing that in a packed theater, and the
Well,
place absolutely lost their shit when that scene happened.
That is the scene where either you're on board for the rest of the movie or it's lost you forever.
It's true. I mean, the wave of that scene carried that whole crowd through. Yep, it really
Jason,
did.
I feel like I saw that with you, but I could be wrong, because I remember
I
I
don't
was
think
joking
so.
about pancakes a lot back then. But
I think you were still in California. I saw it with Susan.
oh, when did that come out? That
Was
doesn't matter.
it 2002, 2003, something like that?
I would have been
Yeah.
still in California then, unless I came
Yeah,
home.
I was at the movie theater because I remember watching it and like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's weird. It's super fucking weird, but funny as hell.
Anyway, so yeah, Dale brings her bacon and eggs and kind of describes to her what has happened. They get a little, like, she's like, "Do you like games?" And this is where they play their
Trivia.
game of trivia, where Dale
favorite
knows. Yes, it's fake thing. He knows every single answer. He's whooping her ass, and they kind of bond a little bit. We don't need to go through all of it, but they're bonding, and while they're bonding, the teens are getting ready to walk up to the house to confront them. They're, I don't know if it's paper, rock, scissors, or straw, whatever they do to determine the one kid that's going to walk.
Well,
up.
the
Paper,
one
rock,
kid
scissors.
at first was like he's trying to be all tough. He's like, or not even trying to be tough. He's just kind of like,
Well, I'd go up there.
well, yeah.
Maybe.
This is all just kind of just. Well, how do we know this is they're even bad? I mean, this could just be a misunderstanding. Like he's actually trying to see
Figure
the
it out.
reason and figure
Yeah.
it out, right? Where this guy's just making all these assumptions, and then they're like, okay, well then you go up there, and he's like, well,
It's like I said, maybe.
I said
Or
maybe.
might.
all right.
They play paper, rock, scissors because the guy who loses is behind 7-4 and he still wants to try to like win.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey
Right.
moment.
Yeah, it's
That's
like
not a seven.
it's
Damn
only
right.
it's only 4-7. And it's like, guy, he's like, you've lost. You go up there.
You've lost the best of 11.
So here we have like the beginning of about 30 minutes of like mass hysteria in this movie.
This
Because
is another really great funny. This is one of the physical jokes of the
Yeah.
of the movie. So
Oh
yeah,
man, that's good.
so Tucker is looking through the window at Dale playing games with the girl, and he's getting kind of frustrated because he's not helping him, kind of not paying attention to what he's doing, and he chainsaws. You can hear the chainsaw going off in the background when the kids are talking about him walking up, and then he saws through a stump, which who knows why he's even sawing through the stump in the first place. It's already a stump, but he saws through a wasp or a bee. One of those two.
It's like a bee's nest, yeah.
A bee's nest, and the bees start attacking him. And of course, he runs away, swinging the chainsaw at the bee. But
Screaming his head off.
Yeah, and he's running right at the kid. Sort of walking out of the house. And at one point, he passes the kid while they're running. And the kid's just looking at him. He's like, what are you doing? And the kid runs into the first of the accidental deaths, runs into a stick or a
impales
branch.
himself on like a big pointy branch. Yep.
Yes. And he's kind of marveling while he's dying that the killer, I put in air quotes, is running past him and not stopping.
Yeah.
And then one of the bees just comes over and lands on his nose.
Yep, lands on his nose.
Like it's fucking Bambi or something all of a sudden.
The other kids, I think, at this point have retreated, right? And Tucker goes back to the cabin, and he starts telling them how he saw their friends. I saw your friends out there, and they must really be. Or he's like, I saw your friends out there. He also says he sawed through a bee's nest, and Dale, of course, is like, why'd you do that? It's so stupid funny, this movie. Tucker's like, well, I didn't do it on purpose.
So if you've been out there helping me, what wouldn't have happened?
Yep.
So it's like, well, all right, I'm sorry. How about I go over there and I pull out those bee stings and then I help you? He's like, I would like that.
Yeah. Yeah, when he pours the beer on his face too when he gets back. He's always pouring beer on his body. Like the entire movie, either accidental or on purpose.
Well, and he also at one point they come outside, to which the other guys have come back to the front door, and they're like, or they go out. Wait a minute, no, this is when they go out to the woods, and they're like, let me go back to the house. I'll finish her off real quick, meaning he's gonna beat her real quick in trivia.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back out here and help you out.
Yeah.
Or whatever, and they're like, "Oh my God, do you hear that? They're killing her in there, or whatever."
Yeah, this is that right before that. I think is the only moment in this movie where I feel like it's a little too convenient. Like she wants to go out there and just talk to her friends because they're just right out there, and they're like, "No, we'll find
You
them
rest.
for
You need to rest.
You rest."
Yeah.
It's like that would have been the end of the movie, right?
Right.
For the most part. But no, that can't happen. So that had a little moment of convenience has to happen, and then that's when they go outside and they start talking, and they're totally misunderstanding what they're talking about. Their friends are,
Yes.
And so,
Because
so they don't want so they're not going to be found at that point. They're like, we got to hide, and then they start yelling, "We got your friend again!"
right. And then they decide to leave a note etched out with an axe, and they leave the axe.
and they spell out, "We got your friend." Yeah.
on a stump, on a downed stump. And so when they go and see it, it's like, those motherfuckers. Yeah. It's like just Chad is just getting angrier and angrier. And the one guy, I'm not sure if is that Jason? Maybe, yeah, Jason. He's kind of like got Chad's back a little bit. Chloe will just do whatever the guys tell her to do.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming Todd was the one that impaled himself. Or no, Todd. No. Todd. Chuck
Todd
for the
jumps
police.
into something here pretty soon.
Exactly. So it's Mitch. Mitch has impaled himself, I believe.
Oh man.
Yeah. They don't spend a whole lot of time on names in this movie anyways, besides
no.
Tucker, Dale, and Allie. So,
Wait. Actually, I had that backwards. Mitch is the one who launches himself into something here real quick. It is. Oh, I don't know. Anyway,
Does it really matter?
It doesn't really matter. They're all cannon fodder.
Yes.
yeah, pretty much.
Chipper fodder.
Chipper fodder. Oh man.
But they decide that
best
they're
wood chipper seen since Fargo.
100%.
Yeah, no wait. I'm sorry. Mitch is the one who impales.
Jeff really wants to
I'm
fix
sorry.
this.
God damn it! I need to know who these people are. I want to know who these people. Anyway,
Oh my god.
I clearly don't have.
So Chuck runs away to get the police. Mitch impales himself on the broken tree.
Yes,
That's what we think. Yes.
yes. Todd is the one who's about to go next. Jason is the one who backs up Chad in pretty much most of these
Ponytail
scenarios.
dude, right?
Black dude.
Yeah, but he has ponytail.
Yeah, oh, he does. Okay, yeah. And
It's
Naomi
Mike, and
is
it's
kind
Mike,
of
yeah.
Naomi is kind of with Jason.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes, I
Chloe
believe
is
that's
the kind of idiot.
the dopey one who can't light a cigarette. They decide that they're going
Well, she does light a cigarette later.
Yes. They decide that they're going to have to attack these dudes. They're going to have to attack Tucker and Dale to get Allie back. And this, I think I laughed for like 30 minutes. I laughed the entire rest of the movie the first time I saw this. Because it's just so stupid and funny. So Tucker is just putting stuff in a wood chipper, just cutting stuff down and putting it in a wood chipper. Dale and Allie are digging an outhouse hole because Allie grew up on a farm and she can help with the crap house, shit house, outhouse hole.
They're making her dig her own grave. Those assholes.
And yet, if they were like maybe 5 feet closer, they would hear that she's gleefully doing this on her own.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dale is like, "Oh, come on out here, we're almost done," and blah blah blah, like very chipper, no pun intended. So Dale helps her out just as the group attacks, right? And first we have, Jeff knows the name of this character, whoever he is, running at Allie and Dale.
Yeah. This is Todd. This is Todd.
Okay, and Todd is running at them. Dale turns fast, of course, knocks Allie back out with the shovel.
Yeah, the shovel, like he
on his shoulder.
swings it on his shoulder. Yeah.
Knocks her the fuck out.
He gets run into or falls into the hole as well. And of course, Todd impales himself on a pole and is bleeding all over Dale.
It's on his own spear that
It's on his own spear that he's attacking with.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
If that's not funny enough, which, that's kind of funny.
Well, doesn't Dale like scream at this, like, because it's all happening right next to him? He's like, ah!
Yeah, he's screaming. And then somebody else yells go, and character, is this
I think it's Mike.
Mitch or Mike?
I think it's Mike.
It's Mike.
Yeah, it's Mike. Mike jumps at Tucker, right as he bends over to grab a log and goes face first in the fucking wood chipper.
Just launches himself head first into it.
I don't think I've ever seen anything that funny in my entire life. And to make it better, Tucker's like, some kid just hucked himself right in front. But he's trying.
He's grabbing he's just in total like panic shock.
Yeah.
And then he's like trying to pull him out of the wood chipper, and he says out loud, "Are you okay?
Are you okay?" Sorry, that's where I meant to go first. That fucking
God.
kills me.
And finally he does pull him out, but he's just legs and a torso.
This guy's pretty heavy for half a body.
Oh God.
That moment.
This is when Tucker starts realizing how this is starting to look.
Yes. Go ahead, Jason. Explain that.
He hucked himself right there.
Some kid just hooked himself right in front of me.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Well, Tucker is convinced it's some kind of suicide pact.
Yes.
And that his kids have decided to just start killing themselves all over his property. And that's what he tells the cop. It comes later. He says,
it's funny because
these kids just started killing themselves all over my property.
that's the way that Dale wanted him to explain it. And he's like, do you think anyone's going to believe that shit? He's like, well, that's what happened. But yeah, Tucker's a little smarter than that. He knows it won't work, but he has to resort to it later. Which is really funny. So are we we're kind of to this part. The other kids all run away after they realize their friends are getting murdered, and they run to the street, except for Chad, who's like, you fucking jerks, where are you going? And they run into Chuck, who is with the cop.
Yep.
They get in the back of the cop car, they explain the whole thing to him, and the cop drives him back to the cabin to find out what's going on, just as Tucker and Dale are pulling the body out of the wood. They're dragging it across the yard. Each of them has one leg, which Dale doesn't let go of, like, the whole time until he politely...
The whole time. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Politely tells the cop, let me drop this leg. But Tucker tells the cop exactly what happened. And the cop is obvious. Go ahead.
Well, it actually seems for a second like the cop might actually believe them, right? He's like, let's go inside. Let's see what's what.
He definitely doesn't see Tucker and Dale as
a threat. Right.
Yeah.
Right. He really doesn't. So it's kind of breaking trope a little bit.
Girl.
Yeah. And he's like, let's the girl can sort it out. Of course, Chekhov's faulty beam plays a little part here. They try to warn the sheriff when he leans back on the beam, and he hits the beam. The nail board comes down, gets him right in the back of the head, I think, right?
No, forehead.
Is it the forehead?
Yeah, right in the forehead, yeah. He comes out the front door with it sticking out of his face.
And I think Tucker says, I think he looks like he's going to walk it off.
He's going to walk it off. Too good. Yeah, he's not very good at recognizing death.
He does not walk it off. Yeah.
No, so then is it Chuck at this point who gets out of the car?
Yes.
Chuck gets out of the car and grabs the gun. And of course, nice and helpful Dale, as he's about to shoot them, Dale is like, hey, you have to take the safety off. The kid's like, oh, thanks. Well, he's like fumbling with it. And of course, he shoots himself in the fucking face. Another Suicide Pact kid. Here we go.
Oh, God.
When the cop walks out, too, and he goes to get in the car, and he's trying to call in what happened, which probably would have absolved Tucker and Dale, because he knew at that point that they didn't kill the girl, right? She was fine. Right. She got knocked out. They didn't seem malicious at all, but all he can say into the mic is, Gert, Gert.
Well, his name is Sheriff Gurr.
Yeah,
there you go.
Sheriff Gurr. Yeah.
I didn't realize he's saying his name.
Oh, it's taking on a new level for Chuck.
Oh my God.
So
go ahead, Jeff. Fill in the blanks before they get back to the cabinet again.
Oh gosh, I am. Yeah. So at this point, they notice that the dog has gotten out. Weezer, their dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
or Blanger, or Banger, or something.
It's Weezer.
It's Janger's the dog, but Weezer is the dog's real name.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Janger's the dog.
They got Jangers. Anyway, and they've got a gun. So they're kind of shooting the place up, and they're also holding the dog at gunpoint. To which then Tucker loads up the nail gun for Dale. and he's like, I'm gonna go try to figure a way to get the dog back. You cover me, basically. And so he's just shooting around with the nail gun.
Yeah.
And basically one thing leads to another, and they capture Tucker.
Yeah. They catch Tucker sneaking up to rescue the dog.
Right.
So Chad captures him, and
Strings him up by the ankles.
Yep.
And
and Chad tortures him. He cuts off 2 of his fingers.
his bowling finger.
His bowling fingers, as Dale says later. They cut off his bowling fingers.
Yeah, and so and basically they want to know what's going on with Allie, to which Tucker's like, dude, you guys are idiots, basically. In fact, I think he calls them pretty stupid. And so so they cut off his bowling fingers and send it back to Dale. To which then Dale's like, they cut off his bowling fingers. And so at this point, Dale decides they've got to go. He's got to go.
Yeah, Dale goes to rescue Tucker. Meanwhile, Chad and the gang go to the cabin.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they set a trap. If you didn't say that, they did set a trap for Dale.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dale does walk up on Tucker, right? And Tucker is trying to tell him it's a trap. Dale doesn't listen, kicks the trap, and a spear springs and goes right through his crotch hole of his pants.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, thank God. This is the first time I'm thankful I'm not hung like a bear or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
But he ends up cutting him down, and they start to make their way back. While this is happening, Chad and one of the girls,
It's Chad and Naomi. Yeah.
sneak into the cabin, right? And they see Allie kind of doing homemaker shit, right? She's like cleaning dishes or whatever the hell she's doing. They start whispering. She's like, why are you whispering? There's nobody here. And they come to the conclusion that Allie has Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
Right.
Which, of course, why wouldn't she?
Right. So yeah, right. Yeah. Well, because I think Naomi she's also in the same classes as Allie, I think.
Maybe, yeah.
Because Allie
wants to be a therapist. Yeah.
Right. And so it's just like I've heard of this. It's Stockholm Syndrome. It's like where she falls in love with her captors, which is funny because she kind of is.
Kind of.
Yeah, it's similar.
But not sinisterly.
But she's never really been captured. Exactly.
Right, exactly.
Her heart's been
What's
captured.
funny about it, too, is this is something that every college student or every high school student has done at one point in their life, is take something they just learned
And apply
it to something.
Yes.
Right.
Most definitely. Definitely.
So they
So Allie's gonna mediate between Chad and Dale.
yeah, Tucker and Dale come back and they're like, okay, everybody, let's just talk about this. It's like, it's very possible that you guys have just misjudged each other.
Yes.
So they sit at a table. Now, meanwhile, Chloe and Jason are starting to creep around outside up to the cabin.
Yep.
So, yeah, like Chad goes into a lot of his, they're the problem.
Well, let's go back to earlier, and that's when Chad starts talking about, well, when I was 10 or something like that.
Right, yeah.
And she's like, well, maybe not that far back, but he doesn't listen. He just
He's
starts,
like, it's important.
he starts telling a story about how his grandmother told him that his father was killed in the Memorial Day massacre.
Right.
His mom was committed.
His mom was a lone survivor and was committed to a mental hospital. Yeah.
And basically, he isn't hillbillyist.
Yes.
We'll just say it that way.
Yeah. He's anti-hillbilly. And
He also said at that point that he couldn't have chamomile tea.
right.
Oh yeah, we should talk about Chekhov's.
What kind of tea is this? I'm allergic to chamomile. It fucks with my asthma.
Yeah.
Right. Chekhov's chamomile.
Yeah. And I think Dale says it's Earl Grey. It's delicious.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
Ooh, I love Earl Grey.
I love her. But he tells this story, which is totally unsolicited and doesn't really necessarily have anything to do with what's happening here.
It only shows that he's prejudiced.
Yes, and
Yes.
Allie's just like, well, thank you for sharing that.
Dale doesn't tell much of a better story about what happened either. I can't remember exactly what he says, but it doesn't lie.
Right. Yeah.
And how does that make you feel? He's like, I feel better. This I feel a lot better, actually. Just get it out. It's talking about it.
But that's when Jason and Gloria walk in, right? Because
Chloe.
they said, or Chloe,
Chloe,
thank you. They must be captives in there, even though they're sitting around talking.
Right.
They must be trapped. So I think it's Jason runs in with a weed whacker. Or no, he goes and gets a chainsaw or a weed whacker, something from the.
Somehow like the cans of gasoline that they're storing in the house catch fire.
Well, so yeah, Chad had dumped all the gasoline all over the place when he first got there.
He'd done that earlier.
Burn
Yep,
it down.
that's right. Yeah.
When Jason and the girl, whose name I'll never get, Naomi or
Chloe.
yeah, Chloe. Thank you.
Chloe's the blonde. Naomi is. She
My
looks.
problem is I cannot remember the names, not the people.
Yeah, because I think Chloe is like she looks Indian maybe or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, Chloe is the dumb blonde.
Yes. So
Even though Allie is also blonde and only slightly smarter. Really, she's like Dale. She's well-meaning.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Jason runs in with a weed whacker, and he attacks either Tucker or Dale. They duck, and then he takes half of Naomi's face off.
Yeah.
Weed whacker.
Yeah.
And he, at that point, I can't remember all that happens, but all I know for sure is that at some point, Jason has been slightly lit on fire because Chad threw the lamp
Yes.
to try to kill Tucker and Dale. So the whole place is on fire. The girl, Chloe, I think grabs something flammable to try to put the fire out on Jason, but it's actually another flammable agent.
Yeah.
lights his ass on fire. Those three escape, meaning Tucker, Dale, and Allie, and then the cabin explodes.
Yeah.
So there goes his, is it my vacation home?
But Chad is still.
He's saved by the door. He's under the door when the thing explodes.
Yeah,
So he
like half
comes out.
of his face gets like burned.
Yeah, he's like Chad Two-Face now.
Yeah.
Chad Two-Face.
Yeah.
Batman's greatest villain, Chad Two-Face.
The thing is he only had one face the entire movie. He was just a fucking asshole.
Right. Well, and now he's more interesting because he has two faces.
Yes, he does. He is more interesting. But yeah, the next thing that happens is Tucker, Dale, and Allie get in the car, the truck. They finally get it started. They're driving off, and of course, what happens? But Dale crashes the truck and knocks Allison out yet again.
Yeah.
And he almost gets killed by being like a part of the tree stump or whatever comes through.
Yeah, whatever it is came through. Yeah.
Yeah, it almost killed him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it either impaled Tucker or
No, Tucker was beaten
Chad
up.
did.
Chad beat him up.
one or the other.
Yeah, Chad, he said I tried to stop him, but he beat me up or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically he's like, they figure out that Dale or that Chad is taking Allie to the wood mill or to the sawmill or whatever.
Jangers runs him there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jangers follows the trail after Tucker gives him the speech about, hey, I never let you beat me. you were always better. I just said I let you beat me. Blah, blah, blah. Go get your girl.
Yeah.
To which Tucker does. He follows Jangers to the cabin. Then he's like, you stay here, buddy. And he goes and gets his uniform on with the belt and the welder's mask.
Now he looks like the killer that Chad thought he was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And he bangs through the door and scares the shit out of Allie. And he's like, oh, hey, it's just me. Did I scare you? And she's like, well, yeah. But Chad has done the Dirk Dastardly kind of thing. He roped her to ropes her to a conveyor belt that's gonna run her through, or whatever.
Run her through a saw.
Yeah.
And there's a pretty sweet fight. We don't have to get into it, but Chad keeps stopping Dale from saving her and getting her off the thing, but then he grabs an axe and has like his bitchin' hero throw to break the rope and let her off. To which he looks at his hand like, oh my God, did I do that? And they kind of run away at this point, right?
Yeah.
They run upstairs and barricade themselves in, and that's when Allie uncovers
The secret.
the picture of the hillbilly. That is Chad, basically.
The hillbilly killer is Chad. And it turns out that that Chad is his son, is the hillbilly killer's son, because
his mother was raped and when she was captured. Yeah.
right.
Yep.
So they tell Chad that he's half hillbilly.
Which does not make anything better. Makes it
No,
worse.
it does not.
It's like, you're half hillbilly.
But
kills me.
during this time, Dale, has also found a bag of chamomile tea for whatever fucking reason he finds it. And while he is trying to distract Chad with the information that he's half hillbilly, realizes he needs to throw the chamomile in his face and sends
Chad has an asthma attack. Yeah.
Anaphylactic shock or asthma attack, whatever it is. And he's like, it's fine if we give him his inhaler. And then he just falls out of the building and dies.
Yeah. It's
Now he's like, apparently not, or whatever.
Yeah, he's not going to be fine.
And then I wish I wrote down this exact line, because that's technically the end of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Well, technically.
Kind of, sort of. We have a little bit of
because we had a cold open that happens after this. So what we do find out later, all the cops come, the press come. That also did not kill Chad. Chad killed the news reporter lady and her cameraman.
Wait, when did that happen?
When did
That was before the movie started. And then it said 3 days earlier.
Oh, you're saying that's...
But when did he do that?
After.
I guess he's still alive.
Oh, yeah, he did after. You're right. Yeah.
But because the movie started with
alive.
that, and then it said 3 days earlier.
Yeah.
You're right.
So
You're right.
he's still alive. Yeah.
Good catch.
Yeah.
Well, that news reporter has one of my favorite lines too, because she's like, in an apparent suicide pact between unstable college students, turns out was actually a murder by X. Like, that's what you deduce from what you see here. Good catch on that, Jeff. I've watched this movie 5-6 times, and I've never.
Yeah, because I was real worried with the 3 days earlier part. I was like, oh no, not that. I hate I hate that sort of thing. But no, I mean, it's because you saw like the guy with the half burnt face, and when you see Chad later, it's like, oh, okay, all that connects. My guess is, and this is just my guess, that did happen my guess is that happened at the end of the movie, like maybe during the credits or like after the happy ending.
Right.
Well, one of two things happened. They didn't want to end on the scary thing. They wanted to end on the happy kiss.
Yeah.
Or they thought it took a little too long to get to a horror thing, so they moved that to the beginning and then reordered the movie that way.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So basically what happens is Dale gets the girl, they go bowling, Dale funnily gives his speech to one of his other hillbilly friends, who totally perpetuates the hillbilly.
No teeth.
No teeth. Yeah.
But he also knocks out maybe an underage girl and drags her out.
Well, so yeah, but that restarts the whole cycle of the movie. So this is basically so it's basically Tucker and Dale versus Evil 2. Is what's happening back in the background.
Yeah. Kind of
Speaking of Tucker and Dale versus Evil 2, they have been trying for years to make a sequel, but have been unable to secure the funding needed for whatever reason. Tyler Labine and Alan Tudyk are both willing and happy to do another. They've been like the biggest spokespeople for it, but they're not exactly big names either, right? You can't really sell a movie on their names, unfortunately.
Well, Alan Tudyk, you could have just on fans, but that would have to be, you'd almost have to crowdfund something like that.
Yeah. And
especially since it kind of broke even, right? Go ahead.
I kind of wonder why they haven't tried to crowdfund. Maybe they have, and it hasn't, and it didn't get enough traction. That does seem like the right way to go about it.
Yeah.
But Tucker and Dale Go to Yale described it as Goodwill Hunting meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's funny. That's like Harold and Kumar Goes to White Castle kind of sounding.
Right.
But this, if this is
so I think there is actually a script. It's just, it's kind of in development hell.
If this is the only Tucker and Dale movie we get, I'm quite happy with it. It accomplished, in my opinion, everything it could. The joke of the teenagers accidentally killing themselves never ran stale for me, like ever, and it really easily could have.
Well,
right.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's partly because each kill or each moment is its own little kind of vignette in this, but also a lot of them happen unexpectedly to the point where you don't expect for it to do and each one gets progressively more ridiculous to the point where you quote unquote kill the big bad by throwing tea in his face.
Yes.
It's I mean, it keeps fresh by being by doing things more and more ridiculously.
And wildly, what I consider the best kill in the movie is the only one I saw coming, which is there's a wood chipper there. Somebody's going to fucking die.
Somebody's going in there.
The wood chipper, you know that's going to get used. Yeah.
But the ridiculousness of seeing a guy come in from the side of the frame horizontally straight into it.
Supermaning into it?
Yeah. And Tucker's reaction to it sells that, even though we knew it was going to happen. But also realize that's like basically dead middle of the movie.
Yeah.
So it's like the one thing we expected happens right at the middle, and it's done it's like it's done in such a different way than you would expected than that. Yeah,
and this movie runs really lean, which is great too. It's 89 minutes, you're in and out. The only scene, Jason, I totally agree with you, that kind of takes me out of it a little bit is when Dale is like, we'll go, you don't go.
You rest.
Yeah. That's the only scene I'm like, But
well, but that also still plays to Tucker and Dale being kind of, they do think of themselves, even though they really aren't, they kind of think of themselves as the macho guys.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to do the right thing. They're just idiots. I mean, in some ways they're idiots, so I'll give it I definitely give it a pass, but I can understand.
Oh, absolutely.
I can understand the issue. And like I said, I kind of feel like basically once the cabin explodes, to me, the best part of the movie has come and gone.
I agree with that too.
The third act is a little
peaked by that point.
Yeah.
It's almost formality at that point, but still,
but it goes pretty quick though. That's
it does
the best
go.
part about how they handle that.
Yeah,
it's not a long finish.
A part of it's worth it to tell Chad that he's half hillbilly.
Yes, right. And part of it's worth it for Tucker to get a woman's finger.
Oh my God, that killed
God,
me too.
that's right.
Then they found my fingers, and it's a fucking Lee press-on nail at the end
Yeah,
of
he's
one.
like, does this one always look like that? 'Cause he's all fucking drunk up.
Well, yeah, because he's talking about how fucking high he is.
Yeah.
um, yeah, yeah, and I mean, and again, it's like, I wanted to see Dale get the girl, and I was glad that all went down that way too. So yeah, I mean, that's, again, every moment of this movie has its heart in the right place, so I can give a lot of passes
For sure.
Yep.
for it. So yeah, I
100%.
have passes left over. I didn't have to give out that many.
Save them for number 2, which will probably need them if they ever make it. Maybe not. Maybe they could come up with another super clever way to do this story. But man, this movie's pretty clever.
Well, if they wait another 10 years, they can just have Dale and Allie's kid go to college.
Sure.
Right? I mean, so anyway, yeah.
I have nothing further on this. So if you gentlemen are good,
I am good.
I got about 10 to 12 beers in a cooler. If you want them, I'll get
If you want 'em.
yeah, you better not drink the last one.
That was one thing. Also, it was him bargaining with Tucker bargaining with the college kids with 10 to 12 beers in a cooler.
Yep. Speaking of beers and alcohol, next week's movie has a lot of alcohol being purchased.
Oh yeah,
That's
But
quite
that's
a
just-
tie-in.
yeah. That is just in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah. What is it? Should I ask Jason? Is this a Jason pick? What's next week, or is this
I mean, I don't.
This is kind of a group pick, I think.
all right, Jason? I'll ask you anyways. What's next week?
Next week is LA Confidential. Yeah.
Yep.
The best movie of, what was it, 97?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The best movie of 1997, my opinion.
Yep.
It's right.
It's off the record on the QT and very, hush.
That's how I was going to open the episode. Oh man.
Well, you can still do that because
Well, this is the end of the other episode. I mean,
people
Fair.
probably
Fair.
quit our episode halfway through saying the best part has already passed, so they won't have heard this. So they'll catch you next week.
Yes, this episode is definitely peaked. It peaked with the wood chipper.
Yes,
Yeah.
it did.
when Chuck couldn't breathe anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, LA Confidential. Yeah, it was my pick for the best movie in 1997. I have things to say about that later.
Yep.
Unfortunately, LA Confidential, of the 5 best pictures from 97, the 5 best picture nominees, it's the one that sadly is probably forgotten in the last 25 years. Obviously, Titanic snowballed the whole thing. Good Will Hunting is more quotable.
Save it, Jeff. Save it.
And yeah, so there's a little peek of next week's episode, LA Confidential. Yeah, I mean, this is good stuff. So you can find all of our stuff by going to filmseizure.com. You can go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us at Film Seizure. We Wednesdays are when you can find new episodes, but we also have some stuff. Put an asterisk next to that for next week as well, but we'll explain later. Also, though, on Mondays at filmseizure.com, as is always the case, every Monday, you'll find Monster Mondays. So that's filmseizure.com. You find out all about that stuff on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. This week, this upcoming Monday, I'm still in Hammer Horror Month, and I've got The Gorgon, which is a movie about a Medusa lady.
Nice.
Christopher Lee is a fucking badass in it. It's awesome. Anyway, Peter Cushing is the bad guy for once. Anyway, so that is on Monday. This upcoming Friday at my website, bmovieanima.com, you can read the very first article I've ever written about a Steven Seagal movie. Sniper Special Ops, and that's 2016. So you can probably guess what Steven Seagal is mostly doing in that movie, sitting on his fat lazy ass, sometimes with a gun on his lap,
on his lazy ass.
well, yeah, I mean, he at one point he's resting it on his big fat tum. Anyway, so that was suggested to me by a friend. He's lucky that there's enough there that it was actually kind of an enjoyable watch, even though it was an awful movie. This upcoming Saturday, for B Movie Enema, the series, season 3, episode 3, Jaws of Satan.
Yeah.
Can you guess what that movie's about, gentlemen?
A shark.
A demonic shark.
No. A Satan-possessed snake.
Nice.
It's a terrible movie.
Close
It's got a
enough.
great premise. Terrible movie. Anyway, so that's Saturday. You can follow B Movie Enema at Facebook and Twitter to find out more about that. So next week we are whisked away to 50s LA, where it all looks great on the outside, but it's pretty rotten to the core in LA Confidential. I am Jeff Arbuckle.
I'm Chuck Moore.
I'm Jason Oliver, and you have been listening to Film Seizure.